This is our $12, actually after taxes, $16 a night room in Hue, Vietnam. So we have definitely some views from this room where we don't in Da Nang. Got a kind of an alleyway side street and then kind of a main view here in the front, which isn't bad. And Russell and I both are hoping we can get up off the ground, off this bed. It's definitely, I think, in rougher shape than what we have in Da Nang. It's just a wet bath. There is no walls or anything for the shower. It's just a drain. Got a bum gun and a sink and a mirror and a small TV. So, yeah. Got us an oscillating fan up at the top and one over in the floor. And we do have a split unit on the wall, so that's good. But the elevator is down and they say it's going to be up in an hour. I pray it is before we leave and come back, because I didn't think I was going to make it up the 5 flights of stairs. And the stairs over here typically aren't normal stairs. They're a little bit steeper. So, yep, this is our room for a total of $16 a night, taxes and all. We went to this restaurant in the alley right beside our hotel, and their menu was funny. It said, "We have beer as cold as your girlfriend's heart." I'm not sure how cold that is, and I didn't have any of the beer, but I thought it was funny. This is the bridge that was in the previous video that lit up at night. We walked across it during the day just to see what we could find across the way, and we came across the market in the city, and it was interesting to see how many flowers and vegetables and fruit that they had here. It was tons and tons of produce, and I suppose the locals come through on their scooters and just kind of pull over and get what they want. Russell tried some of these small bananas and he said they're excellent. They had gladiolas and mums and all kinds of flowers, lilies, sunflowers. You can see just tons and tons of flowers. I'm not sure how many they sell a day, but apparently it's a big thing because they had so many available and so many different vendors. A lot of the fruits and vegetables, we really weren't even sure what they were. We came across orange, and it was actually green on the outside and beautiful, kind of almost a reddy orange inside. We were tempted on buying one of those. This is a pile of watermelons, more oranges, and that kind of thing. Not sure. I've seen this fruit before, but I'm not positive. I want to say it was a dragon fruit, but I'm not sure. These folks were selling onions and some of the stinky fruit and just all kinds of things. Coconuts, limes, pineapples, tomatoes, everything you can think of, they were selling it. There's the stinky stuff. Now we went into the inside of the market. This is a little bit different than the one in Da Nang. It's not as wild for sure as the one in Da Nang, the Han Market. There was someone sleeping. We saw a lot of people sleeping, taking naps, I guess almost like a siesta. I don't know what they call it here, but you can buy just about anything. There's plastic containers. This area was full of like kitchen utensils and spices and that kind of thing. Then we hit the shoe area. We were looking for Russell a pair of Croc-like sandals. We did wind up buying him a pair, but they weren't exactly what we were looking for. Then we left and went over to the Citadel, which is right in town. And this was a very interesting place. In 1993, it was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was constructed from 1804 to 1833, and it actually encompasses about 5.2 kilometers. It actually is the outermost fortress um, of the Imperial City. We didn't go into the Imperial City, which is behind the Citadel walls. It was kind of raining that afternoon, and they were setting up for some type of show or something that afternoon. You've kind of got these moats around the walls of the Citadel, so that was interesting to see. Of course, we didn't know what a lot of these symbols meant, but it was still very pretty to see all the unique architecture and all the detail on these buildings for sure. According to history, the last emperor of Vietnam abdicated here in 1945, and that marked the end of Vietnam's monarchy. The citadel was actually heavily damaged in the Vietnam War in 1968, and ongoing restoration efforts continue to try and preserve and rebuild damaged structures. Here, past the wall that you're looking at now, you can see the top of one of the buildings inside the city. And again, we did not go into this area. We saw this going on in several places in Hue around the Citadel where they were not using any type of mower. They were using a weed eater and raking the grass, so that was interesting. We came across these three young people. They were dressed up in traditional attire, and they were actually going to be performing on stage about 3 hours after we left, but they were gracious enough to allow me to take a snippet of video of them. So they were very, very cute in their traditional clothing. As we were getting ready to leave, we came across some other people also dressed up, and we were able to get some video of them as well. There were a lot of people posing on the steps of the Citadel and walking around, so it was interesting for us to see them in their wooden sandals, a lot of them, and definitely the clothing they had on. Another thing to do in Hue is to visit the tombs of some of the previous kings or emperors, and this is one that we visited. I'm going to put the name on the screen because I know there's no way I can pronounce it. I just wanted to show you these series of steps that you had to climb to actually get to the tomb. Here's Russ down at the bottom of, I think it was set number 3. I think there were 4 or 5 of these that you had to climb. This is some statues outside the tomb. Apparently, this is one of the most, or is the most ornate and most expensive tomb in Hue. It is the smallest tomb, but as you'll see inside, it is very ornate. Some beautiful artistry inside for sure. It's set up in the mountains of Hue, and just has all of these dragons and elaborate carvings on these buildings around the area. So it is something to see for sure. From what I was able to read, it was commissioned or built starting in 1920 and finished in the year 1931. So that means it took about 11 years to actually complete it. We're going to enter inside now and show you some of the beautiful work.
Đi lại thêm đi vào bên chụp chia bên lại gọi lại thôi. Nó gọi đến từ em đi bên nha. Nói gọi đấy. Gọi lại đi về đường đường kia đó, đằng đó. Thì bên gọi lại con đường bên kia, đường đi về con đường bên kia đi. Còn chia bên lại đi chứ còn không phải là đây cũng một người đó không phải nói đi đó.
I want to zoom in on this. This appears to be broken pieces of glass and pottery that have been put together in these mosaics that are just beautiful. You can see here in the lotus flower, it looks like a number of pieces of blue and white pottery here that have been put together. You can see the pieces of bamboo that look like maybe it's broken brown bottles or broken brown pieces of glass.
Finally, we visited this pagoda in Hue. I'm also going to put the name of it on the screen because I have no idea how to pronounce it. But it was beautiful. It is known as probably the most recognizable landmark in the city of Hue, and it was built apparently back in 1601, so it's been around for quite some time. We were told by several people that it was a must visit if you go to Hue. I thought this was interesting. I'm not sure what this tablet had to say. It was in different language, but was sitting on this turtle. As you walk past the pagoda, there is kind of a key or gate to walk through, and it takes you back into the gardens. This is kind of the back side of it, and they have a lot of these bonsai, just like they did at the Lady Buddha in Da Nang. And I just looking at these, I can't even imagine how old these trees and specimens are, but they were beautiful. Definitely very well maintained as far as this portion of the garden. And I'm going to show you one here in a moment. It's in a blue and white pottery looking type container. This one here, which I thought was one of my favorites. I don't know what all of the symbols are on the outside. I know that's like a lotus flower, I think. But I can't even imagine how old this tree is, but it was quite substantial for sure. I'm sure the video doesn't do it justice. But they had gardens around with different types of lilies, and these look like almost like a bird of paradise, but they're not the same color, so I'm not sure. Different buildings around the area, and this was a pretty area. It was kind of a forestry area with some trees, different types of pine trees, and they had these wildflowers growing in between the trees all around. It was almost like a carpet. And this is walking back out toward the front. They had a small little lily pad or pond with lily pads in it. It was a water feature, not really a pond. And then they had these growing almost like an air plant growing on the trees. I'm not sure if they planted them there or put them there or if they just grew naturally. But they did have some beautiful flowers and plants growing. Some of the grass in this complex wasn't as well maintained as I thought it could have been, but that's not for me to say. You can see here it looks like I wanted to get a lawnmower a hold of it, but anyways, that was just our opinion or my opinion. But for the most part, it was an interesting area. A lot of women were there visiting in traditional attire, and this lady posed for me. As we were walking back out to the front near the pagoda, there was this ladder going up to the top of this building, which I did not climb, by the way. But this was kind of at the entrance. I'm not sure where it led to. And then you see the pagoda there again. This is the back side of it. As you're walking out, you can kind of walk over to the right hand side and get a great view down the Perfume River, just right along the edge of the gate or the fencing not really fencing. I guess it's a wall around the pagoda. So this was very pretty, I thought. And this was an old gate they had there. Unfortunately, right behind it was a lot of trash. So I don't know if where all that came from, but it would have been nice if someone had gotten that picked up. But it looked like it had been there for quite some time. This was a bell. I'm sure they don't call it a bell, but it looked like a bell to me. And it was in kind of a room by itself at the front. And as we were leaving, we saw another one of the dragon boats coming up the river. Um, Plenty of those there in way for you to take a ride if you chose to. And I just want to end the video by saying, if there was any doubt in your mind, the traffic is just as crazy in Hue as it is in Da Nang. And so no big change there as far as the traffic. But Hue was a nice town to visit. Like I said, we only stayed one night, but we saw what we wanted to see. There are a lot of other tombs and other places to visit, but that just wasn't something we were interested in this trip. But give Hue a try, especially the train ride to Hue was fantastic. Thanks and have a great day.